side. We do our first sort here, so they're kind of triple sorted, essentially. So they're picked as bunches. This door is open and this kind of elevator is stuck on the backside. So the first guy that sorts is here. We have really small picking bins, so he's looking at every bunch before he puts it in the elevator, making sure it's not over too many raisins or too many green berries or has any mold problems or spiders or lizards or anything like that. And it goes down the floor. We lose a lot of fruit in this first sort. When it comes up in the bunches, we're satisfied with the bunches. Everything goes into the crusher stemmer. And if you want to, you can look inside because it's not being used right now, and it's kind of interesting because a lot of wineries
look in that side.
Get to see it, but if you poke your head up there, you can see like
under here.
No, on this side here.
Excuse me.
You can see that. So this would be turned perpendicular. So we're dropping all the fruit from here. It just goes up the door, and as it goes through that inside, the little plastic kind of batons knock the grapes off, and the stems are funneled out the side you're looking into, and the grapes all fall out here onto the sorting table. So it's like a faster way of getting the stems off the grapes, which is interesting to me.
I think
it's like a big part of. But it's like a big part of the. How do you do that? Because when you talk to high-end California red wine producers, it's all about sorting down to the berry and getting all the stems off and the leaves off and anything that's not grapes. Material other than grapes, you'll hear a little bit mog. And a lot of people do the marketing buzzwords, but actually don't. They don't do it quite the same. We're really slowly processed. So once this stuff comes out onto the sorting table, this guy vibrates. We catch a lot more of the small berries and the raisins and things in the little grates here. Then we have 8 people that work on this table that take everything that's not a perfect grape out. And then straight onto the elevator here, once it just, I mean, it's hard to explain, but it looks like blueberries when it's done, just like a bunch of blueberries that fall off. Goes into a forkliftable container, and we forklift everything up into our fermentation vessels. So that's step 1. Step 2 is once we have one of the oak fermenters, which we use for our Cabernet and Merlot mostly, and these guys are used for Pinot Noir. Once these fill with fruit, and we fill them exclusively with fruit, we don't do any additions or anything, so you're full to almost the top. We turn the temperature down, we do a couple days of cold soaking, then turn the temperature up, and then the yeast that's present in the air naturally starts doing the fermentation process. And we ferment. We're going to walk through this way so you guys can. I told you it was a horrible tour guide. Right over here, we have. Once the fermentation process, so when it starts, it's like just straight grapes. Yeast eat the sugar, and they produce alcohol, CO2, and heat. So we'll let the CO2 and the heat go off, and let them produce the alcohol, and that's what we like to keep in the flavor, alcohol and flavor. But once that's done, just from the natural process, like that bunch of fruit ends up being like this much fruit. So once that's done with the fermentation, we'll let the juice that's naturally pressed out. And then someone gets inside with a shovel, and we shovel the rest of the grapes out into the press. So, pretty much the process. And this is our press. It's a smaller press, but kind of like a French coffee press. So these are the forklift times. So we forklift this guy out. We upload the glass here, but forklift that out, put it right in front of one of those tanks, shovel it up. It's just like a French coffee press, so it presses down. Like we'll fill this whole thing out. Squeeze it all out through the hole there, which is pretty cool to see actually.
So all the wines, this is the place.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And the process is the same regardless.
It's not for, so that's for reds. So we do all of our reds that way. White wine is pressed when it's juice. So we'll see where our Chardonnay production is, but they all go through the fermentation in barrel. So they happen on an individual barrel size basis. All these guys are fermented in the tanks and then pressed when they're done. So that's the only difference we use, but other wineries can be different. Sometimes other wineries will ferment their Chardonnay in stainless steel tanks, and they might press it and ferment it in tank, but we're all barrel fermented. But we'll see that when we walk back. And straight out of here, goes into a tank to settle and then right into the barrel.
And how long is